Brexit, there are two very important events happening this year. One is the US election.
Yeah.
The other is the Olympics. What impact do you see on media and advertising in terms of spends? And, you know, next year we don't have any of such mega events.
That's true.
So how do we cope up with that?
So this Maxi Quadrennial, as we call it, we have the Olympics just starting, and I'll be running the torch in Rio on August the 3rd. Looking forward to that, and I think it will be a great event, despite all the challenges. And the challenges are, you know, very substantial, whether it be about organisation, funding, doping, whatever. So there's some very big challenges. But I think it will, once the games start, it's as usual with these events. Once they start, the focus of you and others moves to the games itself. You know, it's a bit like the London Olympics. The moment that one of our riders won the Tour de France on the Saturday or the Sunday before, everybody switched to the Olympics, and it was a great games. I think it will be a great games in Rio. So that will help, certainly help in 2016. We have the football tournament going on at the moment, which has started magnificently, despite some of the issues around violence and obviously the ever-present cloud of terrorism. And then, last but not least, the American presidential election.
In fact, you were the first person in one of the first few in November to say that Hillary Clinton is going to be the next president of United States.
Yeah, that's because she's a woman.
What impact will her presidency have on your business?
Well, listen, I don't know. I mean, my bet was Remain and Hillary, so I'm one wing down. It could be another wing down. No, I think Hillary, you get two for the price of one in a way. You get, you know, it's a bog off, buy one, get one free. You get Bill as well. But, you know, there is baggage there. I mean, there is no doubt that there is baggage there, whether it be, you know, a Secretary of State and email servers or the history. And coming back to Brexit and its importance, you know, this is, in a sense, revolutionary. And what the electorate is saying, they want change, and Trump represents that. I mean, whatever you think about Trump and what he says and what he doesn't say, he did defeat 16 or 17 candidates for the nomination. He does get very significant amounts of polls, certainly in the primaries. We'll see what happens in a general election. It's a different game. But he is an unconventional candidate and an unconventional response, and therefore, and Hillary represents the establishment and the elites and foundations and, you know, all the things that go with that. So it's a very, listen, after this week, you know, all bets off.
Yeah, all bets off, Hillary. Huh? Okay, so we've spoken about the world. Coming back to Cannes Lions, you know, with so many overpowering presence of technology companies,
yes,
doesn't it look like a CES or SWSX with like a few creatives thrown in? And what do you think of that?
I don't think it's about the incursion or intrusion of ad tech, because 75% of our business is media, data and digital, and stuff that Don Draper wasn't involved in or wouldn't recognize. I don't think that's the issue. I think Cannes clearly has changed. You know, people say the duopoly. You look at the beach; it's dominated by Facebook and Google.
Yes,
you can't get onto the beach but you know, that's was ever thus. You know, 76% of digital advertising is coming from Facebook and Google. Google was our biggest media investment on behalf of our clients last year at $4 billion out of $73 billion. Facebook was $1 billion. This year, the top line number, let's say, will be 77, 78, and Facebook will be about 1.7 billion, and Google will be about 5.5 billion. So they are, and then probably in 2017, Facebook will be the second biggest. At the moment, it's Fox News, Star, Sky, and number two at about 2.25, 2.3 billion. But Facebook will probably surpass it on the basis of current growth in 2017. So it was ever thus. So the two biggest media owners, in inverted commas, although Facebook says it's not big, and in comparison to television it's small, but in comparison to any media owner, it's becoming quite big.
Yeah.
Those two, so
just the sheer reach also is.
Yeah, is what you'd expect. And the issue for them is, you know, who controls their data? You know, can referees and players be the same person? And Facebook and Google is going to have to, in my view, be more cooperative on data. Google, I think, is showing some signs of doing that, but Facebook, I think, has a way to go. But no, it can reflect, I think, quite rightly, what is going on in the marketplace.
You know, what is the importance of the creatives like David Ogilvy or Sir John Hegarty or, you know, even Piyush Pandey in today's day and age?
Those three that you mentioned, Piyush is the most relevant today. I think Sir John has retired to his vineyard or whatever, or olive grove, and David, sadly, is no longer with us. Although, you know, he always. I mean, David is very different to John Hegarty. David was much more rounded. I mean, David had his. I mean, John Hegarty made this extraordinary remark about Da Vinci and data. I mean, Da Vinci would be, actually Da Vinci did use data. And David certainly used data because he was born and bred, or part of his breeding came through Gallup, if you remember. So he always knew the importance of data, and Piyush understands that, and so does John O'Keefe, who I put up against John Hegarty anytime. And John O'Keefe understands the importance of data, and he said so in Cannes, and how important data is. You know, informing you about the creative response is improved by data stimuli. You know, the best book on creativity was a J. Walter Thompson little booklet on the creative process. And in that book, it says, if you have a creative problem that you can't, is you absorb all the data, all the input, and you let it rest in your brain. And it's true. I mean, I find I get a horrible thought, but I get my best thoughts in the shower. And when the brain is in a relaxed, there must be some neurological explanation for it. When the brain is in a relaxed mood, and you've inputted all the data, you come up with an idea.
Yeah, I get it on my runs.
Yes, well, that's the way. There is something about it. I mean, the thing that was a problem, you suddenly get an inspiration. So there's something about you ought to get some neurological scientist to explain the reasons why. But I think that's true. Now, the more data you have, the better I think the response can be. So I think it's a nonsense to say that that creative geniuses are not improved by better information, better insights.
You know, we are at Cannes Lions. What is your key takeaway from Cannes Lions this year?
I would say sort of two things. One is people talk about the duopoly. They talk about Google. They talk about Facebook. Snapchat obviously is a potential rival to Facebook. We'll see how that develops. Twitter is interesting. We're doing very well with Twitter, and we've doubled our spending on Twitter to 320 million is the forecast for this year in 2 years. Clearly LinkedIn has an interesting future as part of Microsoft now, so a lot of changes. So there's that focus on the duopoly. The other thing that's been unsaid here, which I think it's more what hasn't been said, is Amazon does have a presence here, but nobody's mentioned the word Amazon, virtually. And that is the next, well, it's not the next big thing, it's already a big thing. But that is, in answer to my favorite question, which is, what keeps you up at night or worries you most? Most of the clients that I talk to say Amazon. And, it's about Amazon's reach, data, control of data, fresh food, clothing, even newspapers indirectly, Washington Post. I mean, it's amazing what Amazon is doing, and it's a Goliath. And you sort of went historically, Microsoft, Google, people are sort of raising questions about Facebook. The next big question is going to be about Amazon, and Amazon and Alibaba. Those are the Walmarts, the Carrefours, and the Tesco's of the future. So I would see those two things: the rise and rise of Facebook and Google. I should put it the other way around, because relative size Google is 4-1 for us, and for the industry as a whole. So Google and Facebook, and then secondly, the amazing it's not ignorance, but just sort of it's non-event Amazon here at Cannes, and I find that extraordinary.
Final question, any developments on Rediffusion YNR?
Rediffusion YNR? No. You have to ask the owners, or rather the controllers, because we own a piece. You have to ask them, the two of them.
What are the developments from your side?
On what?
On Rediffusion
No,
YNR?
it's totally in their hands. It's up to them. We don't control the business.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for speaking to us. It was good to have you on the show again.
Good to be here again. See you.